Hey guys, so got the Fastlane pay-per-view and Monday Night Raw reviews to do. So this video is the Fastlane 2019 review, so let's just jump right into it. Kickoff show, there were many changes that kept happening and stuff kept happening throughout it. Like EC3 spoke for the first time to Mandy and Sonya, which was a little weird. Um, the Iconics were surprised that Bailey and Sasha were going to be there because they never see them, even though the main reason is because it's like they're not on SmackDown, and they're probably going to go on the SmackDown soon now that they have the titles, I guess. Still have the titles. Oh, whoops. That's not really a spoiler, I kind of know that, but let's just... Okay. I'll get to that in a little while. But, yeah, stuff happened. Like, the Rey and Andrade turned into a different match, so their match isn't happening. But the first match that happened was Big E and Xavier Woods versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. It was good. It was like a whole lot of back and forth. At one point, The Miz was backstage with his dad saying that, like, you should get to the front row because me and Shane's match is next. And then, Big E and Xavier won with the up, up, down, down. So they got the win, which is cool. Then also Kofi was told that he had to go meet with the McMahons because there was this. It was about the championship match with Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. So he went to go talk to the McMahon family, and everyone was very excited for that. And then the show started, and the second match was, of course, Shane and The Miz versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Oh, also, I didn't get to do, like, the predictions video, so with the first match, I predicted that the New Day would win, and I got that right, so, or, like, Big E and Xavier, the New Day would win, and I was correct, so that's good. With Shane and The Miz and the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, I predicted that the Usos would retain because I had a feeling that Shane or Miz was going to turn heel. And there's a lot of stuff. Shane started the match and did a whole bunch of things, and then he did, and then Miz ended up getting, like, rolled up or something and lost for him and Shane. So Shane was kind of like telling him it was okay, and then they both hugged Miz's father. Because what happened was, like, Miz's dad told him to go to the top rope, so Miz did. And he tried to go for something, I forget what the move is called. But one of the Usos put his legs up and like, rolled up Miz and got the win. Oh, and also there was a cool spot where Shane went to do coast to coast, but Jimmy was, like, down, so Jay got on to the top rope. It was, like, trying to stop Shane, but Shane still wanted to go, so they both jumped, and Jay went to do, like, the spear type thing, and Shane was still doing coast to coast, and he got Jay right in, like, it looked like the groin with his feet. So that was hard, but cool move. So anyway, like, the Usos retained, and Shane told Miz it was okay because Miz was apologetic again, and then they both hugged Miz's dad, and then Miz turned to leave, and Shane just clocks him in the back, and then just starts going to town on him, so Shane turned heel. I was so happy I was right about that. I knew that was going to happen, I'm so happy it did. The dad was surprised when Shane was the one who turned, because he assumed Miz would, because he didn't know Shane would go good as a heel, but I like it. And then, like, he started... Mrs. Dad's acting, by the way, is... It's still, like, he has no clue what's going on. Like, his son is getting attacked, and he's just like, stop. So it's like, okay. At one point, Shane went over to him, and he, like, grabbed his face, and then Shane, wow. And then Mrs. Dad just kind of, like, fell. And back into his seat. And then Shane continued, got Miz in this chokehold until he passed out. And then George, Mrs. Dad, just politely asked the guy, like, can I go over now? And then, like, they nod, and then he goes over and helps Miz to the back as Shane leaves, looking disgusted at the crowd. And I thought that was awesome. I loved it. I love the ending so much. And the match was pretty good, too, but I love the ending. Okay. And then it's Mandy hold on. Before that, Elias had 3 concerts throughout this thing, and it's his first one, and he's just singing about how Shane turned on Miz, and he's insulting everyone, you know. Yay. Great. And then it's Mandy Rose versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I said Asuka would retain, and I'm so happy. Obviously, I'm so happy. I can't help it. But Mandy had quite a bit of offense against Asuka, and then Asuka got ankle locks and stuff on to Mandy. And Sonya kept, like, looking for something on the bottom rope. Finally, on, like, one side she got this kendo stick, but she kept, like, the rain apron thing on the canvas. And so Mandy goes to do something, she trips. So Mandy wasn't even ready for the rain apron, apparently, because Asuka nailed her on the side of the face with this kick, and it just knocked her out, and Asuka retained, and I was so happy. And so, obviously it's Asuka, so I loved it. I'm so glad I'm just glad she... But then, like, Sonya kept trying to apologize to Mandy, but Mandy didn't, like, want to hear it. Like, she was not happy. She was mad. Like, she was not happy with Sonya, and she just didn't want to hear any of it. And so Sonya just kept trying to be like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But Mandy's like, just no. And then she just walks up the ramp, and Sonya following behind her. It's like, so... I don't know if there's going to be conflict or not tonight. I kind of look forward to that, because I want to see what's up. Next... Okay, next, Kofi, the New Day find Kofi, and they're like, it's been over an hour by this point, like, why haven't you gone in yet? And he goes, I keep knocking, and they keep telling me to wait. So they go in, and Vince is on his phone, and he's like, where are you? Where have you been? I've been waiting for you. And Kofi's like, I've been here waiting for you. And then Xavier's like, you know what, Xavier and Big E are both like, look, he's been waiting and waiting for 11 years. Like, you keep saying you don't have any superstar talent or anything, but it's him. You want box office and all this stuff. He's got it. Make that title match a 3-way and let Kofi in. And then Vince is like, you know what? You're right. Kofi, you're in the championship match. And you better go because it's next. And so everyone's celebrating. And he said that Big E and Xavier Woods were banned from ringside, but I think everyone was so happy they didn't even realize that. And also, it's like, why would they be banned? But it's like, okay. And so Kofi gets out there, and he's so happy. Everyone is just so happy. And then the announcer's like, I just got word that that the championship match is happening later tonight. And this is actually going to be a handicap match against the Bar, where both members of the team are going to be in at the same time. And it's like, so he got screwed again. And so, obviously, I was rooting for Kofi. I was hoping Kofi would win, but the Bar just kept going to town on them and, like, beating them and beating him up and stuff. And Kofi tried to sustain them, but they were just, it was too much. Like, toward the end, Big E and Xavier Woods even tried to come out. They didn't care about the being banned from ringside. They wanted to go help Kofi, but as they were halfway down the ramp, Rusev and Shinsuke just, like, hit them from behind. And then Shinsuke got the Kinshasa on, I think it was Xavier, and Rusev got the Machka kick on, I think, Big E, and then the Bar did the neutralizer onto Kofi for the win. Great. Then it's Ricochet and Aleister Black versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival in the Triple Threat Raw Tag Team match. Oh, wait a minute first. Before this, Elias came out again and did another song where he was like talking about Kofi and stuff, and then going back to Shane. It was just basically the same thing. So it's like, at this point, I was like, how many more concerts are there going to be of this? And can you please stop? Like, but you know, okay. Anyway, then it's the Triple Threat Raw Tag Team title match. And Ricochet announced, Ricochet would, I mean, he had even more energy being there. Like, you can tell he was just so happy. It was his first main roster pay-per-view that he gets to be a part of, and you can just tell how much more happy he is. Like, when he's on Raw and SmackDown, you see him look a bit more, like, energized with, like, the first initial entrance, but he looked even, like, he was, like, soaking it in. Like, usually he goes right down the entrance ramp, but as soon as he stepped out from the lights, he kind of, like, gave it a second and just stood there, like, feeling everything that was going on around him, and I just thought that was cool. But he and Aleister Black pulled out all the stops. Like, Ricochet did this one dive onto, like, everyone on the outside, and it was like, wow, okay. And while he did one last flip that, like, looked really dangerous, Chad, like, tagged himself in. But, and with the Revival retaining the titles, as I had predicted they would, I thought they would, and they did. But, the thing is, after that, Ricochet and Aleister Black just went in and took everyone out, and then we're left standing and we're very happy. So I'm like, okay. Like I knew that I love Ricochet and Aleister. It's just that they just got here and they're still going between NXT and this, so it's like I knew it was too soon for them to win the titles. And Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, I'm like, I love them, but I don't know, not yet. Again. But if either one of them had won, I would have been very happy. But, you know, I'm okay with the result. I'm happy that Ricochet and Aleister Black were standing tall. That was good. Good way to end. And then the sixth match was R-Truth versus Andrade versus Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe. A fatal four-way for the United States Championship match. And this match came about because during the pre-show, Carmella was doing had petition thing, and she was trying to get people to sign so that R-Truth could get another shot at the United States Championship since there are no more automatic rematch clauses. And Samoa Joe came up during this and was just like, hey, I don't care, I'll fight anyone, and he signed the petition. And so then they made that, and so Rey and Andrade's match that was supposed to be on the kickoff show actually got moved to this, and they became part of the Fatal 4-Way, and everyone had outstanding performances in this, and it was awesome. But I was thinking that Samoa Joe would retain, and he did. So, and that was, he ended up getting his coquina clutch on Rey, and Rey did not tap, he did not submit, he just passed out. Rather quickly he passed out, but he passed out. So, R-Truth fought hard, like, everyone, it was great, and I did like the match. Then Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Tamina. And so this match was pretty good. Like, there are times, I mean, there are some near falls and stuff, of course, but it ended with Nia Jax getting the elbow from Bayley, and so Bayley pinned Nia to help her and Sasha retain the tag team titles, as I predicted, as I hoped they would. And that's also the first time Sasha has successfully retained a title in the first defense, which is awesome. Like, that's great. And so I'm happy about that. But then Nia Jax and Tamina were not happy and immediately attacked them after. But then Beth Phoenix, who was like guest commentary for this match, since it was for the women's tag team titles, like, she just, like, stood up to Tamina and was just staring at her, and I'm like, oh, God, what are you doing? And then she punched her, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then Nia, like, ambushed Beth from behind and, like, got her in the ring, and then they started attacking her, and then Natalya comes down to try to help. but gets kicked in the face by Tamina, and then it's over. I'm like, what? But I like seeing Beth try to help. Like, it was cool. And now, here is the triple threat match that we thought was going to have Kofi, but ended up not. It is Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali for the WWE Championship. So obviously I had predicted that Daniel Bryan would retain, and because I really want him and Kofi to fight at WrestleMania, I really want to see that. But also because it's like, it just seemed the most logical at this moment too. Because also it's like Kevin just got back, and also Mustafa Ali just got back, so it's like, you know. And some people like forgot that the triple threat match was this, but I knew. I just didn't know who it was gonna be. And so Mustafa Ali came out, and there were boos because people still wanted Kofi. And throughout the first half of the match, no matter what anyone did, they would be chanting for Kofi, and then Mustafa would do something really cool so that they would cheer for Mustafa when he kicked out, and then they would go back for cheering for Kofi. But then Kevin and Daniel and Mustafa were doing so amazing that everyone just started rooting for them. They stopped cheering for Kofi and started chanting for what was going on in the match, and Mustafa was doing really good, so they started chanting Ali, Ali, and then he went to do something off the ropes, and when he was in midair, Daniel kicked him in the face, like kneed him, did the high knee in the face, and retained the title. But it was a pretty good match, and I'm fine with everything. I don't mind at all. Okay, then. Oh, but then at the end, for some reason, you know how like Rowan has a thing where he takes his claw, like puts it on your face, and then like slams you down? Daniel gave him a cue, and he just randomly did that to Kevin Owens. I don't really know why, but he just did. It's kind of weird, but okay. And then it was Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. God, Becky was limping even worse. Or maybe the same as with last week on SmackDown, but like worse. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, I'm worried for you. And the whole time, every time she did stuff, nothing was going good on her knee until one time she landed on both knees and it didn't affect her at all. But every other time, like, it ended. Charlotte had her in a figure 8, or was starting to bridge into the figure 8. And then, and Becky didn't look like she wanted to tap, but it looked like she was in pain, like, the whole time. And I was just like, how are you even doing this match if you're in this much pain? Like, but okay. Then Ronda just came walking down and she just like gets in the ring, looks at Becky, punches her, then just stands up and walks over to the side, and the ref is like, what are you doing? And Ronda's like, and so the ref just rang the bell and says that Becky wins by disqualification because, like, Ronda punched her, so obviously she wins. Like, because it was, like, unintentionally helping Charlotte, but it was like, okay. And so Becky's totally cool with it. She's like, at one point, like, she even said, by any means, I suppose. Like, she doesn't mind. It's like, Charlotte is not happy. But Ronda just walks back up the ramp into the back, like, could care less. But it's like, obviously she wants Becky to be part of the match, or else she would have punched Charlotte. But she didn't. She just randomly hit Becky, who did not sell it at all, and just started smiling because she realized what had just happened. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, okay. Now first of all, right before this, a couple things happened. First of all, this was the third Elias concert. And also I had, like, predicted that Becky Lynch would win and get added to the WrestleMania match, making a triple threat with Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky, so I was right, and I like that. Like, you know. But, okay, before the main event, Elias comes out for one last concert. Yay. And he's singing again, and then he's like, I love not getting interrupted. And so, because he got to do the full song, he said, that's the end, I'm gonna go, and I love none of you. And I'm like, oh, God, okay. And then, I was really starting to think, Lacey has not been here all day. And I didn't say it out loud because I didn't want to jinx it. Lacey's music hit. She walks down the ramp. And then, of course, walks right back up and leaves. And Elijah's just kind of looking like, seriously? But then, out of completely nowhere, Randy Orton just RKO's Elias for no reason. And it was funny. And then you see AJ Styles getting up, and I'm like, when did you even get to the ring? Because he just suddenly is jumping up on the ropes. Randy sees him, and it looks like he tries to hit, but AJ nails him with a phenomenal forearm. And that's it. And that's all for that. And I'm like, okay. And then it's the main event of The Shield versus Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. And I had predicted and hoped that The Shield would win. And I'm happy. I wrote down some of the key points of stuff that happened. Just because I wanted to remember them, and they were actually, like, really cool to me. And also because this is the last... Usually if it's the main event, or if it's just a match that, like, really, like, seems to matter to me for some reason, or if there's a special significance, I will write down more notes for it. But for this, I did write down some. The first one was just when Roman had his first time tagging out. It was kind of funny because he just casually walked over to Seth with his hand out, like, okay, you can tag in now. But then he had to stop. But then he had to stop because... like, I think it was Baron, like, tried to have a hold on him or something, but he just, like, punched him and then just kind of, like, turned around, put his hand out to Seth one more time. I just thought that was funny. And then the key things that I really, like, took notice of. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins brawl with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley in the crowd, while Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin fight in the ring. That was awesome. that was great. Okay, and then, like, also I didn't write this down, but there's a point where, like, Seth jumped off from the crowd thing onto Dean Ambrose, because he was still, like, laying there, and Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre just laying on everyone, and Bobby Lashley looked like he was out. And then, in the ring, like, and you didn't even know where they were, like, they were gone at one point, and then and then Roman was in the ring, everyone else got there. And then he did Superman punch, and then got hit with End of Days by Drew. Only when the ref was about to get the 3, Seth and Dean swooped in at the last second and broke the count. So there's that, to save Roman. Oh, and then on the outside at one point, Drew, Bobby, and Baron tried to powerbomb Roman through the Spanish announce table, but Seth and Dean started, like, attacking them, and then there's a bunch of stuff, like, and then there's a lot of things, and, like, Dean did the... I forgot. I'm sorry, Dirty Deeds. Wow, I'm tired. Dean did Dirty Deeds to, I think, Drew, and Seth nailed Bobby Lashley with a curb stomp that, like, took him out for the rest of the time, because it was, like, bounced his head off the table and he was gone the rest of the time. And then Seth, Dean, and Roman did the signal, and they all did the triple power bomb to Drew McIntyre through the Spanish announce table. And then they wanted to do it one more time, so they hear the crowd chant one more time, and Seth's like, one more time? Because Baron Corbin was still in the ring, so they all get in there, and Seth is like, one more mother time, and I was laughing so hard, because I was like, okay, just say that, alright. So he yells that, and then Roman does the signal again. They grab Baron after he realizes what's going on, and he's like, oh, okay. They nail Baron with all the signature moves, and then do the triple power bomb, and then Roman covers Baron and wins for the Shield. They immediately embrace each other, and then they're just hugging and, like, thanking each other, thanking the crowd, and then they do their fist bump one more time, and then the show ends. And it really felt like the end, I would say. It really did feel like the end. So I no longer think it's a I don't know if it's a work exactly. I don't think so, because it just felt like the end for me. And you know, yeah. But I'll talk about more about that in the next video when it's the Monday Night Raw review. But for this, I would say that Fastlane wasn't a terrible show. Like, there were some matches that kept being like start, stop, fast, slow, and stuff at points, but I didn't hate it. Like, it was a good show. It wasn't a great show, but it was a good show. But now I just hope that they get the card for WrestleMania made up so that, WrestleMania can be a good or great show if there's a miracle. But yeah, that's it. Now it's time to do the next video, and I will do that in right now. So I will see you in a bit.